Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honors to the elders of the great millstone, and salutation to all Yakim on the highways and byways, teaching his work sincerely and faithfully. Um, this is gonna be about the woman, more like a demon who just passed. Queen Elizabeth II. She passed away September 8th. She was born in 1926. You got a lot of Jake. Actually, mostly Edomites. Edomites upset about her death, saying that that she should have stayed alive, and they feel bad that she died and all this and that. It's like, you know, she was a demon. She lived long. Like, look at this. She lived for a very long time. Look at her. She's, she was, what age did she die? She died, trying to find 1926, 2022. I think she was around in her 90s when she passed away. And I want to get into the history. Actually, I want to get the scripture first. Job 18:5. Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. I'm gonna get Job 18 and the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his tabernacle shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down, for he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walks upon a snare. The jinn shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall devour the strength of his skin, even the firstborn of his death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. I should have stopped at a certain point. I just like that whole verse, but ultimately, I should have stopped at 6 or 7, because Esau is getting cast down. A lot of the elites are gonna have to deal with judgment when they be born again through reincarnation, of course. And kingdom, they're gonna be slaves. Elizabeth, David Rockefeller, all these Edomites who died on this side. I don't know who died. Ronald Reagan, right? He died. Like, all these presidents, all these people, all these Edomites up top. They're gonna be slaves in the kingdom. They're resting now. She lived a long life, right? How did Great Britain start? I just want to get into history. The kingdoms of England and Scotland into a new unitary. The history of the United Kingdom began in the early 18th century with the Treaty of Union and Acts of Union. The core of the United Kingdom as a unified state came into being in 1707 with the political union of the Kingdom of England and Scotland into a new unitary state and called Great Britain. Of this new state of Great Britain, the historian Simon Schema said, "What began as a hostile merger will end in a full partnership in the most powerful going concern in the world. It was one of the most astonishing transformations in European history." I want to get into, the first decades were Jacobite rising, which ended with the Stuart, with the defeat, led to the growth. Victory, I'm going to guess, which, I want to get into the colonization. Britain was no longer a military or economic superpower as seen in the Suez of Crisis of 1956. Britain no longer had the wealth to maintain an empire, so it granted independence to almost all its possessions. The new states typically joined the Commonwealth of Nations. The post-war years saw great hardships, alleviated somewhat by large-scale financial aid from the United States and some from Canada. So I guess Great Britain gave freedom to some of these nations that it was over because it couldn't afford to have control over them. And that's a sign. That's a sign of Esau's dwindling, you know. But I really want to get into what they did to obtain those other nations, because to make an empire, you got to have other nations under your rulership. Like Rome was an empire. All right, yes. Now this is what I wanted to get at. The British Empire was composed of dominions, colonies, protectorates, mandates, and other territories ruled or administered by the United Kingdom and its predecessor states. It began with the overseas possessions and trade posts established by England between the late 16th and early 18th centuries. At its height, it was the largest empire in history, and for over a century was the foremost global power. By 1913, the British Empire held sway over 412 million people, 23% of the world population at the time, and by 1920 it covered 35.5 million kilometers. All right. It was described as the empire on which the sun never sets, as the sun was always shining on at least one of its territories. So they basically had power all over the world. All areas of the world that were part of the British Empire have their names underlined in red. All of Canada. Damn. Wait, let me just... All right. So they had Bermuda. They had Jake, Bahamas, Barbados, Florida. That was 13 colonies. British Honduras. You had Ham, Nigeria, Sudan, Kenya, Southwest Africa, India, Burma, Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, Western Samoa. What does the scripture say? He gathereth onto him, he heapeth onto him all nations. He desires, it's as hell. He's always conquering. Look, this is what Esau basically, he went over everywhere. And he got Hong Kong. He got Moab, that little piece of Moab right there. So this is, they said, was the biggest empire. Wait, Salaki, let me just make sure my video is still playing. During the Age of Discovery in the 15th and 16th centuries, Portugal and Spain pioneered European exploration of the globe and the process established large overseas empires. Envious of the great wealth these empires generated, England, France, and the Netherlands began to establish colonies and trade networks of their own in Americas and in Asia. A series of wars in the 17th and 18th centuries with the Netherlands and France left England. Britain following the 1707 Act of Union with Scotland, the dominant colonial power in North America. Britain became the dominant power in the Indian subcontinent after the East India Company conquest of Mughal Bengal at the Battle of Plassey. So let me reread that. Britain became the dominant power in the Indian subcontinent after East India. America's War of Independence. So she had a good run, Her whatever you're complaining for, Esau's just a demon, and everybody wants to feel bad. They can't. So they people are making a little bit of memes about this woman, right? Making fun of her, but why are you even bothered by it? You shouldn't even be bothered. She did a lot. You know, whether she was alive at this time or not, she still represented this nation because she was the queen of Britain, right? So that's telling you something right there. You guys conquered. You know, rejoice and be. What's the scripture say? Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. I want to get the definition of colonization. Then I'm gonna get some more scriptures. A colonization, the action of process setting among and establishing control over the indigenous people of an area. Africa boasts a tradition of higher education institutions that predate Western colonization. The action of appropriating a place or domain for one's own use. So you're basically taking over somebody else's land and use them as soldiers if you wanted to. I'm gonna get it. Scripture. Oh my. Rejoice. Rejoice. Be glad. Oh man. Lamentation 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup shall also pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunk and shalt make thyself naked. So rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. You conquered, you stole, right? You pillaged, you colonized, right? Queen Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, she did that, right? She conquered. Whether she knew it or she should know. She's a demon anyway. She was in the power seat, so at the time she got to know her own history. Let's see how she got some of the things she got, like the crown on her head. That's a bad way of phrasing it. This is mainly made up of items she inherited or was gifted. That's not answering my question. Look at that demon. Look at her. Look at how much you got. 500 million assets. You got and I said Ishmael. Elam. That's where it came from, Elam. After Queen Elizabeth II's death, many Indians are demanding the return of the Quanor's diamond. Indian models show the replica of the famous Indian diamond. Quanor, during a press meeting in Calcutta, 29 January 2002. Shortly after British monarch Queen Elizabeth II passed away on September 8th, the word Quanor began trending on Indian Twitter. It was a reference to one of the world's most famous gems. The Quanor diamond is just one of the 2,800 stones set in the crown made for Elizabeth's mother, known as Queen Mother. Okay, but the 105-carat oval-shaped brilliant is the proverbial jewel in the crown. In India, it is notorious for the way in which it was acquired by the British. The history of Quanor. When it was mined in what is now modern-day Pradesh during the Katiyan dynasty of the 12th, 14th century, it was believed to have been 793 carats uncut. The earliest record of its possession puts it in the hands of Mughals in the 16th century. Then the Persians seized it, then the Afghans. All right. I just want to get to the point of all this. All right. Just going to talk about Edom. The Sikh. All right. Maharajit Singh brought it back to India after taking it. So like I just, I'm not going to butcher. I'm just going to skim over it. Brought it back to India after taking it from Afghan leader Shah. It was then acquired by the British during annexation of Punjab. The East India Company got hold of the stone in the late 1840s after forcing a 10-year-old Maharaja to surrender his lands and possession. So, company then presented the gem to Queen Victoria. Albert, her consort, asked for it to be recut, and it was set in the crowns of Queen Alexandra and Queen Mary before being placed in the Queen Mother's crown in 1937. The Queen Mother wore part of the crown at her daughter's coronation in 1953. The Kohinoor has been among the British crown jewels since then, but governments in Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India have all laid claim to the diamond. Yo, all them. The scripture said, "Why did the heathen rage?" I guess the gem, the diamond within her crown is made up from all different countries. Other countries like Iran had pieces of their diamonds in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India. So now they all want their stuff back, right? While no plans for the future of the gem have been disclosed, Esau, he ain't gonna give you a damn thing. Esau ain't gonna give you nothing. The prospect of it remaining in UK has prompted many Twitter users in India to demand its return. If the king is not going to wear Kohinoor, give it back, wrote one. Another said the diamond was stolen by the British, who created wealth from death, famine, and looting. See, Esau is the devil, man. People need to stop saying British, America, Spain. No, Edomites, so-called white man, So, the Esau's getting exposed. The light of the wicked shall be put out, Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, Thy naked shall be uncovered. Look, this is what's happening. Everybody's just exposing Esau. Talking like how he got there, how he acquired everything. Esau, he's a cheater. He doesn't work hard for anything. What are we talking about? You should work hard. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you ever work hard? Imagine me okay, let's say somebody had no job, don't do anything, eat hot Cheetos and watch Family Guy, telling you, yo man, you should work while he's drinking a Coca-Cola, a 2-liter Coca-Cola bottle, talking about you should work. Go, bro, what are you talking? You're not even working. You're the worst. I hate Esau's a hypocrite by heart. He's always talking about people get over it, stop working, but you're crying about the Holocaust still. Like, bro, shut up. Now you got people wanting their shit back, Part of my language. It is not the first time, but the diamond return has been sought upon India's independence in 1947. The government has asked for the diamond back. India made another demand in the year of Queen Elizabeth II's coronation. These demands fell on deaf ears, with the UK arguing that there are no legal grounds for the Kohinoor's restitution to India. British India, an author and a political commentator, says the chances of UK returning the diamonds are slim. They're Edomites. Stop asking. If Ishmael, Elam, you want to take, you better go. You better take it. This is a lot of reasons why Esau NATO is gonna get jumped in World War III. Because of stuff like this, you think people keep thinking that Esau is a fair guy. Like he said, you know what? The man who enslaved the whole world, bombing people, starving, cracking people's babies' head. Yeah, I just stole this from you, and you know that. Damn, and you're asking for it back. I'm gonna give it back to you. He caused genocide to the so-called Native American Gad, Judah enslaved Judah. Spaniards tortured the northern tribe, horrifically. And you expect him to give you back a crown and a diamond? He did worse things than that he's not even apologizing about. I swear, no one, these nations are fools, man. These heathen nations, man. They really think Esau is this guy. Like, yeah. True, the British recently facilitated the return of Benin Bronze's 72 artifact looted by British soldiers in the 19th century to the Nigerian government. See that's nothing. But he's not gonna give you. See, Esau will give you. Again, you want bronze and you want artifacts. You can have that. But the Dutch said the British royal establishment is still married to this romantic version of empire, even though it is long dead and has lost its power. Connaught is a symbol of that power. The argues in turning it over, he believes the royals would essentially be eviscerating themselves. So they're not gonna give it up. At the very least, King Charles III must acknowledge the black history of the Connaught diamond. Dutch said. The recognition of the fact that it was obtained through stealth and deception would be a significant step at its stage, and that lays the groundwork for the next generation to be able to give it back. He tells time. Many Indians may not have that patience in the wake of Queen's death. In the wake of the Queen's death, there's only one demand on Indian Twitter. Now can we get our Connaught back? So everybody is fed up with Esau, right? They want their stuff. Esau robbing